Happy New Year! Welcome to today's video. Today we'll do a walk around the truck. So we'll start at the front. As you can see, it has a big grille, and that's because the engine is a V12 air-cooled Tatra engine. I will show you the engine later on in the video, but it basically means that it doesn't have any coolant liquids or anything. It's an air-cooled engine, so it sucks in the air from here to cool down the engine, and there's a big fan behind here that is sucking in the air. Next to this we have our blinkers. It's like every other truck. We have our headlights and fog lights. We have the same headlights at the top, because if you have you can have a snow plow in front of this, and then these lights will be hidden, and you need those lights on the top. So you can switch in the cab. You can switch from your normal running lights to be on the top or on the bottom. So if you have your normal running lights on the bottom, then you have your day. It's like your day running lights. They are on the top, so they have a small glow in it, but they are not fully on. Other than that, we have a big hitch here to pull a trailer, to push a trailer or another truck if it's stuck. And this special cone right here, there's a very big winch that's situated in the middle of the frame, and that winch can be diverted to come out from the front, and then you can pull yourself out, or you can help someone else when pulling. Other than that, there's not much special here. There is the logo, and here is where you fill the engine oils, and you have your dipstick to check your engine oil. So yeah, as you can see, there are two lights on the top here, and those are basically the same as the lights at the bottom. And then in the cab you can choose which one of the two you want to use. So yeah, you can see the side marker around here, and then you can see some bolts on the top right here. You can loosen those, and then you can actually slide it out for 1 meter. So if you have a wide load at the back, then you can adjust those so that they match the width of your load. But yeah, since this will be a RV, these lights will just stay in this position. So yeah, coming to the side here, we have our two fuel tanks, which in total hold 500 liters of diesel. It can also run with motor oil, petrol, kerosene, and all other types of fuel. It's a multi-fuel engine because it's a military truck, but it runs the best on diesel. So it has two points to fill it up, and then we have our coarse fuel filter right here, and behind that there is the fuel pump that you enable from the cab. So when you're starting the truck, you have the fuel pump on, and then once the truck is started and it's running and idling, then you can switch the pump off, because then it will pull in its own diesel. We have the air filter right here, and then to the roof there is a snorkel, so it will get its air from the top of the roof. And then we have a drum right here, and that drum is for the power steering. It holds hydraulic fluid for power steering, and also hydraulic fluid for tilting the cab. You might have seen that in one of the first videos where I tilted the cab to change out some of the hoses. Then you also see the tires behind me. I will go into detail about those right now. At the back here is your fine diesel filter. So as you can see, something special about the wheel is right here. There you can see that under the hub there is a metal part sticking out, and that's actually an air connection. So from the cab you can deflate and inflate the tires, Yeah, so basically if you're going onto sand or you're getting stuck in the snow or in the mud, then you can deflate your tires from the cab. You can drive out of the situation, and then from the cab you can inflate them again. This came with the truck. That's one of the reasons why I chose the truck, as it got that all integrated in the axles. So there's no moving air hoses on the outside. So yeah, at the back here you can see the first hose that's going into the axle. That's the air hose that's being used for to inflate the tires. You're not able to see it, but basically in the hole there is like a thing sticking out a bit, and with a wrench you can turn that valve off, so then you can disable this tire to inflate or deflate, which is very nice when you're having a flat tire. You changed out the tire, you can have the truck running and disable all of the other tires from inflating, and then you can inflate only that specific tire. So yeah, that's very, very handy to have built in. So yeah, right here we have a bar, and that bar can be pulled out to use to pull other trucks or trailers or stuff like that. So yeah, they came with the truck, so it's very nice. So now we're at the back, and as you can see, we've got the same connection here for the for a trailer or to pull something out. We've got some air connections, we've got the power connection, and then we have a very big winch right here, and if you look very closely in the distance, you'll see that there is the winch right there. So yeah, let's have a closer look. So here we have the winch. This can be controlled from the cab. It's based with like a PTO, and it's powered by the engine. So you have a v12 engine that's powering this winch. So as you can imagine, it's very, very powerful. And there is some stuff that, let's see if it will focus. So right around there at the back, you can see a wheel, and I can lay the cable around that wheel to turn it around to go to the front of the truck, and that's where it will come out of the front bumper, so you can pull from the front. So this is an ongoing project. This tire is flat, as the truck got stuck in the mud last year when I was just moving it to build this tent. The tires actually froze in the mud, and when I tried to get it out of there, the valve got ripped out of the inner tube, so I will have to replace the inner tube for this. Here I am working on the brakes. I'm checking the brake pads and replacing what is necessary, but that will come in a different video. So here we are on top of the truck. This is the top view of the winch, and yeah, you can see the mechanism that pushes the cable against the reel, and you can see that it's attached right there. And then if we continue upward, you can see that it's connected by this axle to the transmission unit. You can also see the wheel that diverts the cable to the front right here. And this is a closer look of the transmission. As you can see, it has a line of air valves on the right, and those are air solenoids, and they are powered by 24 volts from the cab, and then they switch your diff lock or all that kind of stuff, and that's all handled from this manifold right here. You can see the axle from the engine coming in at the top, and then you can barely see it, but at the bottom right there, there's a tube, and that tube goes all the way under here, all the way to the back. And if we move to the front a bit, you can see the tube here, and you can see that there is a mechanism where the axles are meeting this tube. It means that this truck is powered by a central axle, and the axles to the wheels are actually hanging off that axle. And that's also where the truck gets its specific V-shaped tires from, because the truck is hanging, the tires are basically hanging from this frame. That's also one of the reasons why I chose this truck, because the side effect of that is that there is zero to no flex in the frame, because the axles are not pushing up on the frame, because they are hanging from this central tube. So you don't need a subframe for your living compartment. One thing that I actually forgot to show you guys, that's this thing right here. It's mounted above the fuel tank, and basically it's a muffler for your exhaust. And this is where the muffler mounts. It has a regular exhaust right now that goes all the way to the bottom. So yeah, it's just like every other truck. Right here we have a cage, and this cage holds about 4 jerry cans of diesel. And then you can have your diesel in your jerry cans for emergency stuff like that. Below it we have a like a wheel that you can use for the winch, so you can mount it somewhere around the tree with some very strong straps, and then you can pull your cable through it and mount it to the front of your truck again, so you have a double cable to pull you out. Then we have a storage compartment. This will be replaced. That will be a later video because this one is fully rusted. So now we'll head in the cab, but as you can see there are no chairs right here, because I moved those inside because of the weather and the humidity right here in the tent. I didn't want the chairs to be destroyed. These chairs are a bit hard to remove because the handbrake and the air system is connected to the frame of it. So yeah, as you can see, the truck has air suspended seats. These are the stock air suspended seats. I've got new seats right now with safety belts, because these chairs do not have them, and there are no mounting points in the truck to mount it right now. So I might keep this, or I might replace it, because the new chairs came with their built-in air compressor, air suspension system. But these ones are quite nice and still functional, so I'll have a look at that later. The first thing to notice is right here, this lever. That's actually to inflate and deflate your tires. So pull it back, you'll inflate the tires, pull it forward, and it will deflate your tires. Here you have your emergency air valve. So if you're running out of air, or you need to test the air system, like I use it right now, I just connect my air compressor to it and test for any leaks and stuff like that. Then we have 2 seats right here in the middle. So in total it can transport 4 persons. 1 sits here, 2 sits on the motor, and there's 1 extra space on the other side of that. As you can see in the back here, you've got some plastic mounts. Let me get some extra light to it so it's easier for you guys to see. But I was quite curious to know what those mounts were for. So now you have some extra light with it. But those mounts are actually for guns. So yeah, so there's not much I will do with them, but it's quite cool to know. So this is the left part of the dashboard. Here you have your blinkers. Put it right, it will blink right. Put it left, it will blink left. Push it, and it will actually spray wind wiper fluid on your windscreen so you can clean your windows. The M is for the fuel pump, for motor. If you pull this light will light as well, so you know that it's running. You also hear that it's running. This button right here is to test your brake lights, so you don't have to have air pressure in your system to test the brake lights. You can just push it. These two are warning lights for your air pressure. Then we have some indicators for how much pressure is in your system. You have your RPMs of the motor. Here you have some fog light switches. They are very satisfying as they have this satisfying click. This is to specify if you want your lights on the bottom or on the top. I have them always on the bottom. These are your normal driving lights, nothing special about that. I had to switch the battery. So here you have your wind wipers. You can specify the speeds in which it will turn. And yeah, we go to the other side. You have your speed display at the back here. You can open it up, and then you have you can put in your hour registration and stuff like that. Yeah, here you have a battery warning light and your high beam light that is on. You have your motor temperature right here. You have your oil pressure on the right, and then you have your light switch right here. That's this one. You have different settings. If you press it, it will to temporary high beam. But you can, like, if you turn it all the way, then you have your high beams on. Then you have your diff locks right here. You have your front axles, your back axles. You have your warning lights on the top. This is your engine brake. And right here you have your heating controls. So it has a diesel heater for the cab, and yeah. And then you have your high and low range, and this is for your lighting mode. So you have 3 different modes. You have wide load mode, that's the top. You have the middle, that's normal. Then on the bottom you have warfare mode, and then only the lights at the left of your truck will work, and none of the other lights. Then there is a special switch right here. So to make sure that in a time of war you can still go away, that switch you can choose which starter motor to use. So this truck actually comes with two starter motors, and you can choose which one to use to start up. I think it cut out when I tried to explain this button. This button is actually the lighting inside of the cab. So you can disable lighting, but I have it enabled just to visualize that the battery is not disconnected. It has a key with a switch, although the wires are just sticking out, so I don't think the key will do that much. That's the switch for the winch. You can, if you turn that, it will divert the power in the transmission to the winch. And there on the left, that's the tire pressure. So if you're deflating, inflating tires, you can see it there. Then the gearing. So it has a 5-speed transmission, and then it has high and low. So it has 10 forward and 2 reverse. And actually high and low is done by this switch on the side. Let's see if I can get a better picture. So it's this one. Now it's in high, other side it's low. So yeah, we have a roof hatch as well, so you can get out of the roof, take some nice pictures. And yeah, on the other side, right here on the floor, there's a pump for the window washer fluid, but I need to get a better place for that one. So right now we will tilt the cab. This right here on the back is actually where it locks the cab to the frame, and here you have your manual diesel pump. So if it's broken, you can pump it up, and then you can still start your truck. And on the right, behind this iron plate, there's actually a button to start the engine without needing the key. So you can just press the button and it will start. So that's especially useful when you have your cab tilted and you want to start the engine. You can just press right there. And this right here, that's the hydraulic pump to tilt the cab. Right now it's in a neutral position to the right. That's the position to go down, and if you put it to the left, that's actually to pump fluid in, so it will go up. So that's what we'll do right now. So I'll insert this bar right here and we'll start pumping, and then we'll see you guys in a bit. So yeah, this is the V12 engine. It goes 6 cylinders on this side, 6 on the other side, yeah, so the air is coming in from the top, being distributed by these black hoses right here, and right here is the exhaust manifold that goes to the left, up in the big drum and out. Then in the front, right there, I can't get a good view of it, but there's a big fan that's blowing air over the engine to cool it down. Yeah, so at the bottom there you have your oil pan and also your oil filter. And in the previous video you saw me replacing the air line right here. You have the alternator on top right there, that is going to that box over there, and the cables from there are going to the battery box that's on the right here. The batteries are now inside because it's winter, and in a few days it will be minus 22 right here, the minus 22 Celsius that is. So these are not that happy in the cold. So yeah, you can see right here a tube, and that's actually the exhaust of the diesel heater for the cab. It's actually quite interesting. So the cab has its own diesel heater, and that diesel heater has its own fuel tank, and when I run the fuel pump that's on top of the fuel tank, it will actually fill up the tiny diesel tank. And also when I'm driving, it will pull diesel to the diesel tank, so it's always full after you've driven the truck, which is quite nice if you want to preheat your cab and you don't need to start the truck or the fuel pump. You can just turn it on if you have your batteries, and then it will heat up. Yeah, so stuff I will be doing here is I see some oils down there, so I just want to make sure that all of the gaskets and stuff like that are still intact, as I suspect they need to be changed, but that will be in a later video. So yeah, what's the plan? So my plan is to try to get an import review of the truck here in Sweden in February. I need to get some extra documents for it, from the Czech military saying that it was in service from this day to this day. And I need that to prove that it was on the road from 1989, so it will be registered as an old-timer, and that's very special because then I don't pay any road taxes for this truck, which is quite amazing. Yeah, and in order to get there are a few things that I need to do. At the back I'm doing new rear lights because those were not conform to EU, so I'm hanging on new lights. That's an upcoming video. I've got new chairs with seat belts because all vehicles from 1960 in Sweden need to have seat belts. So I will replace the chairs with seat belts. The bench in the middle, it has mounting holes for seat belts. So I'll try to figure something out there. That's one thing. And then there's the horn. It needs to have a valid horn. I need to test the wind washer fluid. That's also a requirement. And I need to test the braking system. And yeah, last time I tried to start a truck, there was a fuse that blew a couple of times. So I need to figure out if that was because of the cold. Or if there might be a cable connection that's a bit bad on the other side of the truck. That's all I have for you right now. I hope you like this video, and if you do, please subscribe and leave a like, and let me know what you think of the video and the quality of it, so I can improve the output. Alright, thank you very much.